a load of our team are going to be at the Nursery World Expo on Friday and Saturday, and we're running a competition. We've made this very exciting selfie for Tony. Hi everyone, and welcome to Early Years Weekly, episode number 20. It's a short one this week with just a couple of stories, but they are good ones, and we start off with the EYFS Consultation officially being closed. Now, on Friday, the EYFS Consultation that has been running for a few months was officially over, and there was some interesting stuff that came out of this. First of all, we had the Early Years Alliance published their response to the consultation, and the headline they had was really this idea that they were concerned that it was going to be prompting a tick box approach, and this is because the new ELGs are put in a bullet point list. They said that this could lead to a tick box approach and move child development from an art to a science. They also talked about there being a lack of focus on younger children and the lack of reference to English as an additional language, or SEND. On top of that, they shared some regular concerns that a few people have had around communication and language losing an early learning goal, as well as shapes, space and measures being removed from maths. Neil Leach said that he fears it will lead to teachers teaching to the goals rather than teaching a well-rounded curriculum that they know is going to impact the children. We also had a release from Gecko, which is the Green Early Years Choices Champions organisation, and that's an organisation led by Shell Hadland from Top Stays Nurseries, and their focus is on sustainability in the early years. They said that one of their biggest concerns is that there's no mention of sustainability whatsoever within the consultation documents, and they've led a petition on change.org to get that changed. Definitely something worth looking into, because as Shell herself said, we owe it to our children to teach them about the world they inhabit and that our planet is precious and must be preserved. Finally, on the EYFS, we launched an article last week with comments from Jan Dubiel, from Sue Allingham, Nancy Stewart and Sue Cowley, giving their opinions on the early learning goals and some of the other content within the consultation. In particular, why this is happening in the first place, and they shared their concerns. Definitely worth giving it a read if you need a little overview on what is changing and some thoughts about what might be problematic and why some of these changes have been so controversial. So our second and final story of the week is about children's centres. Now, in response to a question by Angela Rayner, the Shadow Education Secretary, the government have released figures about the true scale of children's centres closures in England. And there's some worrying headline figures here. For example, 54 local authorities reported that they had a fall in children's centres by 50% or more since 2010. And that's a third of local authorities in England. As many as 80% reported some kind of fall, and only 2 local authorities actually said that they had more children's centres being built or established. There's also an issue that some areas are affected worse than others. So for example, Essex used to have 85 children's centres in 2010 and now have just 19. While Gateshead have lost 93% of theirs, they now just have 1. And we know that, in particular, children's centres are of great benefit in disadvantaged areas. The Institute for Fiscal Studies showed this, as well as saying that they actually saved the NHS a huge amount of money by preventing hospitalisations, over 5,500 a year, effectively saving around 6% of the entire project of Sure Start costs. Neil Leach for the Early Years Alliance said, "For all the government rhetoric about the importance of supporting social mobility, this is a policy area that has been completely neglected for years now," and I agree. We know from countless studies that this is a massively beneficial project for particularly disadvantaged communities and for children and families in general. So this is something I would really love to see addressed in the upcoming budget. But sadly, without any kind of commitment to this in the government manifesto, it seems unlikely we're going to see any change anytime soon. That's it for this week. One last thing to mention is that we're going to be at the Nursery World Show on Friday and Saturday, and we've got an exciting competition. We have made this wonderful selfie frame, and if you stop by our stand, take a picture and tag us on social media, you could be in with the chance of winning a Amazon Kindle Fire tablet or even a year's subscription to Nursery World. So make sure to stop by and say hi. Me and Tony are going to be there filming some of the interviews with some of the best early years experts in the UK, so watch out for those coming up too. And otherwise, we'll see you next time.